for anybody who hasn't made it tonight, so they can see that. So the session has started recording now, and we will get started. So I like this little start to the evening. Children are sponges. We know that children absorb so much information and so much learning, and having the opportunity providing your children with the opportunity to learn at this age is the most optimal time in their life to learn. They get so much out of the time that they have, and they really absorb a lot of it. And I suppose that the main thing for us to think about is that they may not remember the details as the illustration will show, but they do end up remembering the full picture. And I think that what's really, really important for all of us as parents is to understand that sending your child to learn about their Jewish culture is important. And we all know that it's important. That's why we're all here tonight. Where you send them is important, and there are options in our community. But that you send them is even more important. That you show them as a personal example that this is important. That learning about our Jewish background, our culture, our language, that this is important, leaves them with an enduring message. And that is the big picture that we spoke about earlier. UJEB is 125 years young. I say young because UJEB continually reinvents itself and reimagines itself. Our mission is very simple. We are here as a community organization. We support our community in building strong and meaningful Jewish future by providing quality Jewish educational experience to students in non-Jewish schools. That's what we're here for. We are a community organization, and we work for our community, which is you. And we're here to support you and provide the education that you want for your children. Our programs encompass diversity, develop cultural and social connections, enable children to identify as proud and passionate Jews. The section of our community that finds itself not in, outside the Jewish school system is 40%. So it's a very large part of our community, and one that needs to be supported with quality Jewish education, and that's why we are here. A little more about UJEB. UJEB is non-for-profit, so all the money that UJEB collects in fees and in the fundraising efforts that we have, stay in our organisation to make our organisation strong. We're of course an affiliate of the Jewish Community Council of Victoria. We're a registered community language school, and we are the only Jewish organisation authorised to deliver programs in government schools. So other organisations do provide Jewish education at their own facility, but we are in the government schools. It's an independent Jewish community organisation, and the independent is a really important word. We don't sit under any umbrella organisation. We are our own organisation, we're independent, and we reflect our very diverse community. UJEB is your community organisation, so you should feel a strong sense of ownership of what happens in UJEB and the education that your children will be getting if you choose to take up one of our programs. Governance, UJEB has oversight from an elected board and subcommittees of Jewish professionals who volunteer to ensure that UJEB continues to deliver quality Jewish educational experiences. And I will just take you down, hold on 2 seconds. Just show you, this is on our website. You're welcome to look at our website whenever you like. There's our board of professional lay people who ensure that UJEB continues to supply quality Jewish education. And there's a great team of people here that passionately care about offering Jewish education to our community. We also have a very strong staff. And if you want to see this a little slower or with more time, you can jump online and have a look. We've got a very dedicated staff that these are the office people in the office, and we of course have our coordinators of all of our programs, and then our I think 56 at the moment, 56 teachers who deliver our programs in all of our schools. So that is UJEB in a nutshell. The next part of the session, I will just give you a brief overview of all of UJEB's programs. We are not only a primary school provider, we also have a whole Jewish life journey that follows the children in the government schools and non-government schools, outside the Jewish day school system, all the way through to year 12. So I'll go through this bit a little bit quickly. Again, you can see all this on our website as well. But this is a snapshot of all of our programs. We've got primary programs, B'nai Mitzvah programs. We've got a UJEB camp. We've got a high school program, a Year 10 Israel experience. And of course, we have programs that support inclusion as well. So Jewish Life program in the primary school is one stream. Our Hebrew Immersion program is another stream of primary school, and we'll go back to those programs a little later. We've got a Bat Mitzvah program and a Bar Mitzvah program. We've got a UJEB camp, which is a very exciting time when we bring all of our kids together from grade 3 to year 12. We've got our high school program that's broken into J Lunch, which is a program at 4 different secondary schools so far. We've got we also oversee BBYO, which is the B'nai B'rith Youth Organization. And that's a new youth initiative that really enables kids an opportunity to develop leadership skills and coordinate programs for themselves. Very exciting program. We also support Hebrew at Glen Ira. So Glen Ira Secondary College offers Hebrew as a LOTE, as a subject that you can take, an optional subject you can take at the school, in the school. And we support that program with curriculum and with staffing as well. And we've also got a program called J-Voice, which is a program that we have right now that looks at student leadership and activism. Israel program, a fantastic 6-week Israel experience for year 10s, like some of the Jewish schools have. We understand that kids who are not at the Jewish schools should not miss out on this opportunity. So we have a great program. We joined together with Sydney and other states to send over 100 kids to Israel in December, January. Unfortunately, this year, of course, we've had to postpone that program, but we hope to send 2 groups at the end of next year. And then we've got our inclusion program where we offer Jewish life for specialist schools. All right, so let's go directly to our program, the primary school programs that you probably are all here to hear about. We have 2 streams of programs. We've got a Jewish Life program and a Hebrew Immersion program. Our Jewish Life program is a weekly program, once a week at a lunchtime, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. And our Hebrew Immersion program is our language program that we are now offering in 5 schools. Every year we grow the number of schools that we can offer this program. So we hope to have more schools in 2021. So what to expect? The 2 programs have very different educational outcomes. and it's quite important to sort of get an understanding about this. Our HIP program, our Hebrew Immersion Program, is an accredited Hebrew language program with the Department of Education and Training. We are a community language school. The students, the children will learn how to read Hebrew, how to write Hebrew. They'll also learn listening and speaking skills. They'll learn a lot about Israeli culture. And we say Israeli holidays, which are, of course, our Jewish holidays. In Israel, they're the holidays that the country celebrates. So they do celebrate all the Jewish festivals, but the program is essentially more of a cultural program with a, you know, the entire emphasis, of course, is language acquisition. And we'll go a little bit more into HIP in a moment. We'll just give a little bit of a snapshot of our UJEB Jewish Life program. This program is much more focused on Jewish culture. The main focus is, of course, the festivals, Israel, Hebrew reading and Hebrew speaking. We don't focus on Hebrew writing in our Jewish Life program. And it's a little more foundational. It's a little more of a basic level of Hebrew reading and a basic level of Hebrew speaking. And of course, we learn about our traditions and our values. That's the focus of our Jewish Life program. Let's have a look at our flavor, if you like, the type of classes that we have. Our classes are, we have great educators. It's really important to point out that not all of our teachers are VIT, Victorian Institute of Teaching, qualified teachers, but they are all great educators. They've all been chosen because they've got experience working with children. Of course, they all have a working with children check, and they're really, really great educators. We also boast small class sizes. Typically speaking, our classes they average around between 10 and 15. So they're beautiful small classes, engaging learning, and of course, a very pluralistic approach to our learning. Let's have a look at the programs in a little bit more detail. We'll start with our Hebrew Immersion Program. HIP is an intensive Hebrew language program. Its goals are to teach students to communicate in Hebrew by developing speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills. HIP graduates will be armed with the knowledge and skills to engage in further Hebrew language study in secondary school. Something to think about is that if down the track you contemplate bringing your children into a Jewish day school for high school, you'll know that after doing the HIP program, they'll have a strong base to get into certainly a mainstream Hebrew class. We've got a lot of evidence of our students getting to mainstream Hebrew classes at Jewish schools. And sometimes, you know, if they're particularly good at what they've learned, they can even make it into advanced Hebrew classes. So that's one of the things that we boast. And of course, it celebrates our festivals and also engages in the wider community to foster an appreciation for our culture. So the Israeli, Hebrew, Jewish culture is celebrated through HIP. This information is probably a little much, so I'll go through it a little quickly. But there are basically Hebrew skills that are acquired and learned during the program. And there's a series of textbooks that we go through for different levels, as well as language topics. So they'll also be learning conversational language topics and grow their repertoire of Hebrew vocabulary. There's 2 learning environments for HIP, before school or after school. UJEB's HIP is unique in that we partner with you, with our parents. And that way we ensure that your needs are met. So the options are 3 mornings a week, 2 mornings a week, 1 or 2 afternoons a week. Really, we can construct a program that suits the families at that school. And there's also an option of blending hip and Jewish life and merging them into one program, or to have them at the one school as separate programs. And the examples down the bottom of the screen are examples of what we do in different schools. At Caulfield South Primary School, there is HIT before school for 3 days a week, and there's also a fourth morning a week of Jewish life for those who want it. And at CJC, we also have HIP and Jewish life after school, and Elwood, they blend together. So it's important to say the schools that are existing, we've already worked out with the parents a program that suits them, right? To design a new program, of course, we're talking about new schools. So Coatesville and Carnegie are two schools that we are looking to build in 2021. And those parents will have the opportunity to meet with me and to discuss how they would like their school or their program to look. Again, at the current existing schools, that process has already been done. Now, that's not to say we can't review that down the track, but that process has been done. And in those schools, we have a program that we've designed with the parents. So I hope that makes that clear to everybody. Again, this is probably a little bit too much information, but I wanted you to get a glimpse of the HIP curriculum that we have. Our curriculum is is divided into year levels. As you can see, there are textbooks that the children work through, depending on their year levels. And at some schools, the textbook or the level of a student might not be the same as their general cohort. So you could have a year one student working on a year two book, depending on how advanced they are in their studies. So it's a little flexible in that regards. And you can see the learning outcomes develop as the kids develop throughout our program. So again, I'm not going to go through every line here, but I did want you to get a visual overview of a very serious and very exciting Hebrew program. Of course, what you don't get from these tables is the dynamic, exciting lessons that our teachers run for the kids. They're, the kids are not, sitting there with a textbook, for 45 minutes. They're engaged with activities and songs and games, and they really have a very dynamic learning environment. I might just keep on going and talk a little bit about our Jewish Life program. You will, as I said before, our Jewish Life program has a very strong emphasis on Jewish culture, and we our mission here is to equip the learners with the tools needed to passionately participate in Jewish life. So what we are really aiming to do is to allow our children to learn about the way we do things, the way we are Jewish, and to be able to participate in Jewish life wherever they might be. Again, we speak very heavily about culture. This is not necessarily a religious program, and it really is a very strong emphasis on culture. And you'll that's the way we build our program. We have a very, very rich culture, and it belongs to all of us, no matter what our personal beliefs. And we sort of leave all of that at the door, and we don't have any emphasis, in the way we approach our lessons, and we really, do our lessons in a very open and inclusive way. We focus on different tools, our tools being community, rituals, practice, homeland, values, text, and language. Our curriculum is built around the Jewish calendar. So that's a major part of the program. We follow the festivals and learn about the festivals as the year goes on. We also learn about festivals and cultural events like Friday night Kiddush, the family Seder, and the high holidays. So kids can come home and can participate with the family. Curriculum also focuses on Jewish identity through common values, language, homeland, our special texts. And we really want to ensure a meaningful and enduring connection to our community. Again, our classes are interactive with lots of crafts and activities, and we really want our kids to come out loving, being Jewish and loving learning about Judaism. And then that line from before of our children we want our children to be proud and passionate members of our community. The Jewish Life program is structured a little differently. We've got 2 levels, prep to grade 2 and grades 3 to 6 in our level 2. It's a different structure because the lessons are less skill-based and more experiential based. So it's we can divide it up in that way. And of course, again, there are different learning environments before school, lunch, and after school. All of our schools that again are pre-existing have already established what time of day they are, and you can see that all on our website. And if there are new schools that come on board, we get an opportunity to see when it suits the parents best. And this is sort of an example of our Jewish Life curriculum. It's a 2-year curriculum. And so whereas we teach, like our calendar doesn't change. So we teach the festivals every year, but as you can see, our focuses or our themes are different in each year. Just if you see Purim, for example, in year 1, we focus on heroes. And in year 2, we focus on being a upstander and not a bystander. So that's the way our program is built. And if you want to have a brief look at that term 3 and 4, again, we focus on our festivals and add in other Jewish topics like Jewish values, Bible stories, and other ones when we have a break from festivals, when there's a bit of time in between. So that is our Jewish Life curriculum. I realize, everybody, I do apologize that this is so frontal and it's me talking nonstop. So I do apologize for that, but it seems like it's the only way to get through it, and then we'll get questions at the end. It's 8:35 at the moment. We'll definitely finish by 9. Only a few more slides to go. Working with the DET and government schools, you probably would, it'd be good for you guys to understand that UJEB is proud of our strong relationship with the Department of Education and Training. We've also developed positive relationship with school principals as a trusted service provider. And this is really very, very important for all of our parents to understand that, in regards to our school communities, we are a service provider, and we are the service provider of choice for the Jewish families in their community schools. And this leads us to why it's so important to work with parents. So our parents' committees are our key to success. We exist entirely to support our community. And without you, the schools can very easily see us as a service provider, like an after-school program, like chess, like Auskick, or anything like that. And I think when we team up with parents, the school understands that it's their job and their purpose to support their school community, which you are their school community. So it's really important that we have active parents committees in every school that we're at, in order that the school can really provide what the parents are looking for. So we'll talk a little more about that with the individual schools down the track. And if anybody would like to join a committee, they can do so later down the track. But it's a really important, we are a community organisation, but we really want you to understand that we're your community organisation, and we want to work very much in partnership with you to provide you and your children with what you would like them to receive. I suppose that the almost the end of the presentation, UJEB is a non-for-profit community organisation, and we don't make any profit from any of our programs. We try to cost our programs to exactly what they cost. We try to keep our prices as low as possible. And we also we rely very heavily on our community and philanthropists in our community to run our organisation. Coming up in 2021, this is the basic costings that we have. A HIP that is 3 mornings a week will be $350 a term. A school that has an after-school program will be $250 a term, and a school that has a before-school program is $150 a term. And that all is based around the timing that we have, that we need to pay our staff, obviously, and that's why there's a difference depending on the time of our programs. Our enrollments, if there is anybody very, very keen out there, unfortunately, our enrollments will not be open till December. So you can take this away and you can have a lot of thought about it. You can ask a bunch of questions as well, and we can help you make some decisions. And I might just check what's been going on in our chat to see if there are any questions. So somebody has asked if there is any possibility of changing times of sessions in a pre-existing school. The answer is yes. It's very difficult because we need to get some kind of consensus. And when there are clearly, this school is particularly about Caulfield South, when there are a lot of parents involved, there are over 50 students enrolled, or there has been this year, to get consensus is quite difficult. But again, this is your program. So if you bring the request to the Caulfield South Parents Committee, they will consider that request and they will debate that request. And, if there's a way of facilitating it and everybody seems to be agreeable, then they will do that. There's another question here. Yeah, so the Jewish Life program does have repetition. If a child is in prep, for example, and there is the 2-year program, they will do one program in prep, a different program in year 1, and then in year 2, the themes of the program return again. We've trialed this program now for it's in its 4th year, and it's actually very effective. It's a fantastic way of reinforcing those lessons when a child gets to do the same theme, but 2 years down the track as an older student. So that works quite well. When they get to year 6, we often add in a separate program for year 6s. Until now, we've seen that our year 6s have kind of dwindled away. So we get a great response from students in the younger years. And then by year 6, we kind of see that parents start thinking about bat or bar mitzvah programs, and our numbers kind of go down a bit. in a school that there is demand, for example, in CJC, Caulfield Junior College last year, we just started a special Year 6 program and curriculum. So we also have that flexibility. If the demand is there, we can add something for that. Okay, I'm just looking through these. Also would like to know if enough numbers, if Garnervale can have before or after school. Again, we can address that. There's a very strong Gardenvale parents committee, and so we can address that at that committee. Things like days of the week to run activity, to run the programs, very much, you know, is in my mind is a parent's decision, which UJEB will facilitate. So if the parents can agree that that's what they want to do, then we can look into that. Yeah, there was a question about, again, another one about changing to after school. Again, it's entirely open. We just need to bring the parents in together and have a discussion about it, and then we can do that. Okay, so there's a question about Voxstone. I'm going to leave the Voxstone question. We're going to continue this meeting at 9 o'clock, particularly for Voxstone parents, because there are some exciting things happening at Voxstone next year, but I'd like to address that at 9 because there'll be some additional parents joining us. So the programs that we offer, the next question is it possible for a Caulfield South parent? So is it possible if there are 3 sessions in a week for a student to only do 2? It is entirely possible. It's not advisable. The program and the curriculum is built on 3 sessions a week for that school. If the parents decided they wanted 2 days a week, then we would adjust the program to 2 days a week. But at the moment, it would mean that your child would miss a third of the learning. So it's not advisable. Certainly, if it's a decision that you as a parent wants to make, you can make that decision, but we wouldn't advise it. Someone asked about whether children cope with doing both the HIT program and the Jewish culture program if they're offered at your school. We find that the kids that are doing both programs cope perfectly well. And it really is about you as parents managing your week and your commitments. And knowing your child and what your child is capable of. If you're ever contemplating that, you can always trial it, see what you think, continue or stop. That's always very easy. Okay. There was a question about, I want some information about the sessions in schools and the times of day. Is this confirmed? Yes, at the moment, if you look on our website, it will show you all of our programs that are offered this year. Currently, we are offering all those programs again next year. There's been no changes. There are 2 schools that we are at the moment wanting to add next year, and that is Voxstone and Carnegie, but they're not confirmed yet. We hope to confirm them by the end of the year. And then when will decisions be made about sessions and which comes first, enrollment or sessions? All our sessions that are on our website will be offered in 2021. So in December, when enrollments are open, you are very welcome to enroll, and we'll be offering all of them. So they're all there. I think I've come to the end of the questions on the chat. Again, my apologies for this being so frontal and me just talking and talking non-stop. I hope that we've been able to give you a really good overview of what we do and how we do it. Again, all the programs that are on offer are on our website, so you can see them there. And of course, any questions that you like, that you have, you can call up our office. Rochelle is the one that answers our phone. We're not back in the office yet, but she answers the office phones. And she will be able to answer any questions that you have. She'll be able to forward any questions to me if she wants me to answer them. So that is that. I think that brings me to the end of my presentation. Again, I encourage anybody to please send a message, an email to the office, call the office, ask any questions that you want. Look, I suppose maybe the last thing to say is maybe to speak a little bit about next year, and that is that next year we are 100% anticipating being back in schools. There may be a little difference in exactly when the start date will be, but we anticipate being back in schools next year. Our numbers are doing well. I've had conversations with many principals, and they all seem to think that if things are continuing in this way, UJEB will be back in schools next year. Of course, we have no idea. No one. I mean, one thing that this is that 2020 has taught us, and that is that we can't crystal ball it. We have no idea what's going to happen, but we're fairly confident at the moment. This year we've offered all of our sessions online, and next year, if worse comes to worse and we can't get access to school, then we will be continuing with online learning. But I tell you, I don't even want to think about it. I want to stay positive, and I want to. I really want to see us back in schools, because it's more convenient and better education for everyone. We did this year from term 2. We were teaching every lesson online, and the lessons were very well received by the parents. It wasn't for everyone, but those that did stick with it very much enjoyed it a lot. There is one more question that's come up. After early morning sessions, do the children walk to school with an educator? So they're in the schools. So after the early morning session, the educator normally will walk with the preppies to where they need to line up, but all the other students seem to know exactly where they need to be. We did have a situation at Gardenvale, because they're on 2 campuses, where we walked the kids from the older campus to the younger campus, and that will continue if that's necessary next year as well. So yeah, the kids will be well looked after. All right. There's one other question that's come through. Okay, so at the moment, if you have a situation where a program is not on offer in your school, the best thing to do is to give Rochelle a call in the office and explain the situation to her, and we'll see what we're able to do. All of our programs in 2021 will be offered at schools, and if you don't have a program at your school, we will problem solve that with you and see what we can do. Great. Okay, I think from me that is all. I wanted to thank you all so much for coming and spending some time with me, and giving me the opportunity to tell you all about UJEB. I've been with UJEB 4.5 years. I'm super passionate about it. It's a great organization, and we are so thrilled um, to be able to provide this service to the community. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a lovely, lovely evening. All those Volkstone parents, if you would like to stay online, we will chat about Volkstone in 10 minutes. I might go and get myself a drink, but we'll keep this running, and I might take it off screen sharing. So good night, everybody. And if you're in Volkstone, by all means, go get yourself a drink, and we'll start in about 7 or 8 minutes. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm trying to see if I've set this up to mute everybody. So I'm trying to see if I can unmute you so you can actually talk to each other while I get a drink. But I can't see how to do that. Give me a moment. I'm going to pause the record.